And we're live. Hello,
Nice.
everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Building Svelte Society, where we build Svelte Society. Um, and today we have another guest. We have Matt Pilott. Is
Pilot.
Pilot? Pilot?
Yeah,
All
pilot.
right.
Yeah. I know it's confusing with the
That
extra
last
T.
T is actually confusing. Yeah, and
Keeps it interesting.
he's gonna show us how to use Figma, pretty much. But yeah, before we begin, Matt, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah. So, I'm Matt. I am a front end person, I guess you would call me. Like I do design and web development and pretty much just focus on the things that I find interesting. So Figma and Svelte. And yeah, I contracting both of those things.
Excellent, excellent. Sounds like you have the perfect intersection of experience to show me
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to bring up Figma here. And yeah, so this is what I have. I have some social media buttons that are old. We're going to use new ones, so
Yeah.
don't pay any attention to those. And then we have some colors, and over here we also have a couple of already designed pages, but they're not component. How do you say it?
Componentized?
Component. Exactly, that's the word. So we're gonna, I guess, work a bit on that. Maybe do some textiles. I
Oh,
heard
yeah.
is a good start.
Yeah.
So yeah, is that where we
Okay.
begin?
I think let's kick off with the textile, shall we? So
Yep.
generally in how I do this stuff, there's a few different ways you can take it. This sort of project is quite small. So I would just have everything probably in the file. But as you like scale up, you would start pulling that out into like another library file and importing that. And as you get really big, you might have like tons of libraries, micro libraries. You might have a library just for buttons, and that's it. It happens.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
actually a thing? Wow.
Yeah. It's great fun. So for what we're going to do here, I think we just let's in this components and assets. Do you want to have components and assets, and that's your entire like design
Yeah,
system, if you like? Yeah.
that sounds good.
Okay. Let's start off with your like heading, I guess. In a lot of projects, I'll tend to do like a H136, and then I might do like a subhead caption, but no excerpt, that sort of thing.
So like this?
Yep. So there's a couple of interesting plugins you can use as well, depending on how manual you want this process to be. So obviously you can do it yourself. You can write some text like you've done, and you can hit there's like a little grid icon just above where you set all the font settings. Like when you click this on the right, it says that little grid of dots.
Yep.
Yeah. So in here you can access this and you can press plus to create a new style, and that will kind of let you sort of create a name for it, and then it will store whatever settings you had there, and you can reuse them later.
All
And
right.
we can do one at a time. If you sort of like know all the styles you have ahead of time, sometimes you can write them all out, and then you can use like a text style plugin to generate all your styles for you.
Gotcha.
I think we'll probably
So,
just stick with the manual way
all right.
for
Yep.
right now.
So do we want like a heading, and then do we
Yeah, I mean,
want a frame there, or how do
so
we?
yes, we don't need a frame. We can just literally just create some text.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you'll find that you want to kind of detail your text style. So you might put like text to the side. You might say, oh, these are the bold ones. These are the headings. These are the
Right.
body.
Right.
You could break it up. But for how text styles actually works, we just need the actual piece of text. And
Yep.
then once we've set that how we want it, we'll just press the four dots and we'll choose create style.
Gotcha. So I guess we'll take a look here and find like something that looks like something we'd use, right?
Yeah, we can go with recipes there. That looks like a reasonable title.
Yep. All right. So is there a way to copy the
Well,
style?
what's interesting about the way that we're doing this is you can just create it on the fly on the right-hand side. Because
Right.
styles are kind of interesting. They're not really components. They're somewhere in
Gotcha.
between.
So I guess this would be heading 1. What do you
Yeah.
usually name these? Just
Yeah, I go like heading 1 or H1.
H1. Yeah, that makes
If
sense.
I'm doing like mobile application design, I'll use the type styles that like Apple or Google provide, just so the developers have got like a one-to-one mapping.
That makes sense. Cool. So we have the H1.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there an H2? There's no H2.
Is there a logical H2? Maybe what about on your first page? Is anything from this page going to be
Yeah. So could you maybe call this like a display thing? Is that?
yeah,
Are those usually bigger? I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, you can kind of do it however you like, really. I mean, what you
Yeah.
want to do, you could call it H2, you could call it display. You can always
That's-
rename them as well.
That's true. That's true. Let's go with H2. Because that's smaller than that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then yeah, these would probably be the H3s, I suppose.
Okay.
Does
And
that
are
make
those
sense?
the same ones that you have in your menu on the screen below?
Over here?
Yeah, is that the same components, recipes, starters, templates? Are those the same size?
Like these oh,
The 4 at the top in that
Right.
in that top menu. Yeah,
that's a good question. They probably should be.
they're pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'll do this one first.
Yeah.
So text, and that would be plus first, H3. Cool. And then can I just select these and I guess maybe we'd want to make these components. is
The
that-
menu.
Yeah, or is that too small?
Yeah, we can make the menu.
Yeah. All right.
So should we go? How far do you want to go? Do you want to sort of finish doing textiles? Do you want to like do a body one and maybe
Let's
excerpt?
do body one. Yeah. So that would probably be the body. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got kind of the supporting, like the smaller font size, like below resources and in the side menu.
Yeah. What would you call these? Like,
I tend to go for something like excerpt, but you could go small or you could go like, I don't know, supporting or subtitle
yeah,
maybe.
let's do what you do.
Okay, so that's looking good. So we've got some textiles there.
Yeah.
So a couple of little gotchas with these textiles is you can't do things. So if you have a textile and you want to use something like a text transform, like an equivalence of that for uppercase, that has to be a separate style. You can't do that. Like you can't override that. But some properties you can override. So you can override like alignment. You can override things like the casing and stuff, but not for the whole word.
Gotcha.
So there's some elements that are a little bit annoying that you can't override, but yeah. Okay, so we've got those. So I guess now we've got those, should we map our colors?
That's a good point. Yeah.
We start super basic.
Yep.
Okay,
So,
so these should be pretty easy. Similar methodology. So we click the 4 dots, we press plus, give it a little name.
Ooh, what do I call them?
Do you want me to give you a name? Do you want me to give you If you go back to that page.
Yeah.
So, okay, blue gem. Could be called
Blue gem?
Oh, yeah. I've got a plugin and it tells you color names.
Oh,
Color
interesting.
thing. And so I don't really agree with this name, but the Svelte orange is like flamingo, it calls it.
Well, I'm gonna go with Svelte orange. Svelte orange.
Yeah.
And
then it's gone for like tulip.
All right. What was this? The second one here?
Stone.
Stone? All right.
Oh yeah.
Guess that makes sense. And this, I probably don't need to.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
cloud. You call it.
cloud?
Yeah, because it's slightly off white.
Oh, right. Yeah. Cool. So we have the colors.
Yep.
And we have the styles.
Yep.
I can probably delete that, right?
Yeah. So now I think it's time to go and make that component.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the way to go about this is go grab what you have and make that component.
So I guess I'll grab just this.
Yeah.
Let's
So if you can like copy in there, and
Oh,
then you can either
pretty
press like
small.
Command K to make it a component, or you can press the component button at the top, or you can right click it and press create component.
Create component.
Command
Alright.
Option K, sorry.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got this. Now, that's fine. If we want to reuse this, we can override the text, but if you click this and like option drag to make an instance,
Option drag. Yep.
there, so it's an instance. Now, in this instance, you can override stuff. So you can double click components, you can type in a different piece of text,
Yep.
and what you'll probably see is that it won't maintain the spacing that you want.
Right. So if I do that.
It kind of does, and it does actually work exactly how it work. I was expecting it to just shrink.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Now, if
Can
you
we
want to
add
do
some?
Go on.
Sorry. Can we just add a background here so I can see what's going on?
Yeah.
Let's see here. All right. Let's pick some. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we've got like a little interesting issue to resolve with that underline.
Yep.
So I think the underline itself needs to be kind of like a part of the text.
Yeah, for sure.
So we probably should group those two together,
So
which we
do I
can't
need
do in
a-
the instance. We can only do in the root component.
I see. So let's see here. So that's okay. So grouping those.
That's it. Now we want to put that group.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, so it's because it came out of the auto layout group. So you see, this is like
I
an
see.
icon of like the two bricks.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's like your auto layout group. So the way I'd probably go about this is we can have our auto layout group actually be the top level. So you can click on frame 3, you can do like Command Shift G and ungroup it. And then on
Yep.
group 28, you can add auto layout back to it, which you can do in the right hand sidebar.
There we go.
Yeah. And now that saves us a layer, which is good. And then that line is obviously grouped there, and we can kind of shuffle these around however we want. And you can take
Right.
this
Yeah.
to the kind of nth degree where you make what are called interactive components, where you would create like all the possible options here in terms of what is the active link. And then when you use that in a prototype, you can kind of click those and the line will move,
Oh, interesting.
which is quite cool. So yeah, I don't know how far you want to take.
That sounds too advanced for this particular, All right, so I think we have some questions here.
Okay.
Could you build out an HTML form radio option? Well, if we have time, forms are complicated. Does Figma have a one-to-one HTML semantics?
Yeah, so it doesn't. So here's the interesting thing about Figma. As much as it is built completely on web technology, a lot of it is in WebAssembly,
Right.
which means,
Yeah.
not really.
Yep. Yeah. That makes it hard. Let's see here.
Whereas if you use something actually like Framer is very much one-to-one with the web. So you have all the limitations of web, which depending on what you're working on, maybe that's what you want. A lot of the work that I do is app design, and I don't want those limitations.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So is that so I guess if you're only working, mostly working with apps, it's a hindrance rather than a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, particularly when you're using things like blurs and vibrancy effects, like all of those are quite expensive to do in the web. And
Right.
whilst they're kind of given to you a little bit, particularly in iOS, that you kind of get a lot of those for free.
That makes sense. All right. So we have our menu component here.
Yeah.
Do I?
So probably name it. rename it from group 28 to navigation or menu. So
Yeah.
now, when you're making components like this, where you have like a fixed number of items, let's say you wanted to use this navigation elsewhere, and maybe in your next navigation you have 5 items. So to accommodate things like that, there's no way to auto like repeat information. But what you can do is you can make the maximum amount of numbers, and then you can hide the layers that you're not going to use. And then in the instance, you can actually make them visible again and make use of them.
Right. So how would I hide this one here? Do I
Just press the little I button. That's it. So it's still
Oh.
there. It's just hidden.
I see.
But it means that when you use an instance of it, you can always add it again. Yeah.
So this would be like, this would probably be the main component, and then I add a, let's see here. So I could do this, and then that's the wrong one. Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I think I'm always going to show these, so.
Yeah. And then a similar type of, you'd have a similar thing for the active state. So your active state would be on every item, and you would just hide the ones which you weren't using. And in some cases, you might say, well, this menu item, this link, maybe that needs to be a component on its own with a variation which has the active state, and I will toggle those. And again, you have to balance a lot of this stuff up because you're adding overhead every time you decide to add components.
Gotcha.
And for things like this, where you might just have a 4-item menu, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was actually going to ask you about if it's worth it, like doing individual menu item components, but I guess not. So, do we just move on to something else then?
Yeah. Let's use that component in the screen that you copied it from. So, what we can do is in our where we have the component, if you copy it.
So, yep.
Yeah, and then go back to your page, and then you can right-click this item, and you can say a paste to replace. It's like the third item from the top.
Oh wow! I had no idea that was a thing.
Component there.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. What should we componentize next?
Oh.
Should we go for an icon? Should we do?
Let's do an icon.
Okay. Okay.
Because there are a couple of different like gradients and icons here, I guess.
Yeah.
That we could play around with.
Do you think we should go as far as adding gradients into our color styles?
Sure.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Pretty simple to do.
That makes sense. So I guess I just.
Yeah, that's it.
Do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Gradients. What do you usually call them?
Sunrise or peach or
sunrise sounds good. That's a nice one. And then sunset, maybe.
Yeah, you can do.
I have no idea what this one is.
It's going to be called Dawn. I think Dawn.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
This is actually one of the hardest parts. Is just coming up with names for stuff.
Yep. All right. Okay, so I guess I copy this and then I bring it over to here.
Yeah.
So we can work with it. All right.
Okay, so similar sort of thing. We'll make this Command Option K. We'll make it a component.
Yep.
And then we'll call it, icon. Yeah,
makes sense.
Now, in terms of having the full suite of icons that you have, I guess a way that we could go about this is we could either just have them all separate icons, and the benefit of that would be that when you want to swap one icon for another, you would see the thumbnail. You could use a variation, which would be like a better logical group, but you wouldn't see a thumbnail.
Yeah.
So you'd have to just know what the name meant.
What would you do? I guess because maybe I wanted to switch the gradient for depending on which icon, and maybe I want a different gradient for the same icon. I don't know.
So again, there's degrees here of how convoluted you can make it for yourself. You could, like the way that I'd probably approach something like this, if there were a few more icons, I'd probably have the actual icon, the squares, the little grid thing. That would be an icon. And then I would use that in this kind of gradient button thing, icon housing. It's pretty what I would do. But I think here, if you've only got, say, 5 or 6 icons, it might make sense just to have them all as individual components. And then you'll still be able to override the color if you want. So you won't be bound to having this color for this icon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So should we go grab the other icons, chuck them in there?
Sounds good. Can I not do this? Yeah. Oh.
Oh, no.
Why? Okay, I'll just do them one by one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our 3 icons.
Okay.
Cool, so I guess we make them into different components.
Yeah.
Cool, and we probably rename this. Can
Yeah,
you have
you can
sub icons, or is it?
You can do sub names, so you can have like a name and then a / and then another word.
Oh.
That'll create
That's
like
interesting.
folders effectively.
Yeah. So icon / naming community. Yeah, that makes sense. Community and icon jobs. All right, cool.
Okay. So if we create an instance of one of these icons
Yep.
and just drag it below itself. So let's say this is the icon that you're going to use, and you go, actually, I want the community icon. I don't want the resources one. On the right-hand side where it says resources, you can see
cool.
with the thumbnails. That's the key thing to remember. There's not currently thumbnails for variants. So I'm sure when we create a variant at some point, we'll see how it looks. Yeah. And if you wanted to change the color of this now, that's not a problem. If you just select your instance on the right-hand side under selection colors, you can choose whatever color you like. And it will replace the one you selected. So you can change the background color and you can change the icon color independently. And as long as if you change the shape, like let's say you change the shape of the actual icon in the box, that would be pulled through and it would retain your overrides.
So like if I did this or...
So in the original, like in the master component, if you say click on the actual sort of shape, the little bricks,
Yep.
and then you say rotate that, it will carry on to there. But if you had updated the color on the instance, it would retain the color override and it would still make the layout change for you.
Oh, I see. So
quite nice. It like persists overrides.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that can be helpful, and of course, it can be painful.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I saw another size. Oh, there's another icon here.
Oh.
But I guess there's 2 sizes to each icon. Does that...
Okay. And is the icon like relatively is the spacing the same relative to the size, or is the icon smaller? I think it looks kind of the same to me.
Yeah, I think I probably just...
Yeah, so I think this is a good time for us to make a variant.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right, because you've already chosen what it looks like. You're just going to change the size. You could sort of say it's down to the designer to just resize it as they see fit. That's one option. But, I think we want to make some rules here. We want to say, nope, there's only 2 icon sizes.
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, so we want to create a new like a larger version of all our icons so far.
Yep.
So if we take our resources icon, so to get rid of, so you delete the instance that you've got selected there, click on the root one. See on the right hand side, it says variants and there's like a little plus.
Ah, yeah.
Click that. Okay, so for this variant, you can make it larger to the size of this large one, but you have to use scale rather than rather than
Right.
resize, which is K. You just press K on the keyboard, and then yeah, and then this kind of stops it from. Has that done it? Undo that. So at the top where you have the blue, like in the menu, the blue cursor
Sorry, where?
button,
The blue...
like right at the top next to the Figma logo.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it is K. Yeah. Okay, resize it again. See if it. Okay, I think that's how it works. Because the corner areas didn't change, you see. So I thought, hadn't worked. Okay, so we've got these two. So we can kind of move them a little bit apart, and we can change the variant bounds as well, just to accommodate them.
Oh, right. I need the regular move thing.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay, cool.
So let's see, 106 and 106. I guess I'd make it perfect.
Okay, now to name these, we probably want to have, so the way it works is you have like a key value pair for these. So we probably want the key to be something like size and the value to be like small and large, or small and big.
Okay, what's going on here? Conflicting.
Some variants. Oh, it's just because you haven't finished creating the variant names. So on the so on the small, well, for both of them, you see where it says property 1?
Oh, it should be, so this should be small?
Yeah, and then the other one should be big.
Gotcha. I thought this was the, like, naming the actual property.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then...
Okay, and then, yeah, you can rename it there. So.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, and now when we go to use one of those, like if you option drag one of those, and then on the sidebar you can change large to small.
Yep.
And did you see that little drop down? This is what I mean. There's no thumbnails in that drop down.
Right. Yeah.
And that can be annoying. But yeah. Okay. Cool. So should we do the same thing for the other two icons and add our book icon as well?
Yeah. Sure. I guess we can do one more, and then.
Yeah.
Because probably we want to look at something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
So large, small. Okay. Oh, that's too big. 100. Is there a way to like scale it to like a specific size?
I'm not too sure actually. I think I wonder if you try and manually set the sizes at the top whilst you're in the scale tool, if it will behave correctly.
Well, let's see. Yeah, close enough. All right, cool. Oh, so, I'm still in the resize.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's it.
All right, cool. So we have two buttons here.
Yeah.
And so I guess I see now on this large button, I actually have like a shadow here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
we can always save that shadow using the little 4 dots.
Yep. So,
I don't know what you call it though. Icon shadow.
The
shadow.
Yeah. The shadow. All right. So do I maybe I want to add that as a variant as well? Do I have to add that to both?
You don't actually have to add it. You can just add it as an override.
Oh yeah, that's true. Of course. That makes sense. There's no point in making that. Yeah. All right.
Cool. Okay, so should we go use those in the actual design?
Sounds good. So let's see here. So replace, I need to copy first.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Figma's kind of missing something that Sketch has, where you can replace something from the list of components.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Copy.
Yeah, because this is kind of, I guess, yeah, this is a component. Yeah, it's a bit annoying, right? Having
Yeah.
to do that. All right, cool. And then we have this one. It's not yet a component. There we go. Icon. Let's call it recipes.
Yeah. Nice.
And we just paste replace. Cool.
Okay. Nice.
Excellent.
So I guess next, what would be our next sort of focus point?
Is there any point in doing like lists, or is that just
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do lists. There's a couple of ways. Figma has like a default kind of bullet list thing, and
okay?
it can be text, or you can go as far as making a component. You'll have that issue there where you need to have like loads of empty, like hidden layers
Right,
to put
right.
it on. So you could kind of do either way, I suppose. I don't know. There's limits of all of this stuff.
Yeah. Maybe
I think
this.
probably how I would go about this, based on just how the design is at the moment,
Yeah.
I'd probably just go with text style.
Okay. Yep.
Just super clean way of doing it
That makes sense.
without having that issue. But we could maybe make the menu itself, like all of the menu, the whole top bar,
Oh, right.
a
So this would
component,
be a
because you've
component.
got your logo, which is a component. You've got your icon. You've got your actual navigation menu.
Yeah.
could
So I guess
put it
I
all
would
together.
make these into components as well. Like these
Yeah.
two. This isn't even using the logo component. All right. So I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna. Ooh. Okay. All right. Okay, cool.
hmm
Yeah, we already have that one. And I don't think I need to do, like, this doesn't have to be able to change icons and stuff.
No, I would probably just use your small icon but resize down.
Yeah. So let's see here. 30 by 30, paste replace. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then we can do, sponsor. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And then I guess we'd make one which combines all of those.
All of them. Yeah. So would I use this thing or how would you
Yeah,
go
I mean,
about this?
you could replace each one, and then you could
Oh yeah, of course.
make the whole thing into a component.
That makes sense. So where's the logo? Ooh. I just yeah. Oh wow.
That's probably the number one client request. That can you make the logo bigger, please?
All right. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
And we have this one as well. Oh.
Yeah.
Paste replace and this as well. Yeah, it would be pretty nice to have a menu there where you can like select components or something.
Yeah. I mean, you have the assets panel. See up the top left where it says layers. There's also a button next to it.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have them here.
Can I actually like drag them over something
not
that
quite
isn't?
as. I think. What happens if you right-click one of the things in the sidebar? Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I just think you're missing that like ability to copy easily.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we copy this and then we go here, I guess. And we make a
Like
component,
Command-Option-K. Yeah.
header, and then we just replace that. Always forget copy and pasting. Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
I think it's
That's
because you've got multiple items selected, right?
right.
So maybe you could just delete those ones.
Delete them and move in. Yeah. So, ooh, interesting.
That.
Frame for local components.
Yes, that header one. Yeah, that's it. Do you think that should include your? You've got like a little like a line below it.
Like the, yeah, probably. So I just, ooh, how do I?
Yeah, so
do
you
this?
could do this a few different ways. You could do like a hard 1 pixel shadow, or you could have like like a shape, or
I guess having it as a shadow makes more sense.
yeah, I think so. It kind of feels neater.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see here. Okay. So we add an effect, and I guess we.
Yeah, so there's another issue with this actually, in that the way it works like a drop shadow, like a real drop shadow. So it's shadowing like all your text.
Oh,
And so the only way for us to shadow the menu would be if the menu had a fill.
gotcha. So we add a fill, I suppose.
Guess so. Your background color is stone. Yeah. And then in the drop shadow, in the little like the sun icon.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah. Then you'd probably want to go 0, 0, 1, and then
like
depending
that?
on what your color is of that shadow.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I don't know if it's just like a semi-translucent black or.
Oh no, that's not the right color.
So you've got a fifth color. You've got another color.
Yeah. Oh, which one is that though?
I don't think we've added it yet. I think it's that 2.8. You see that one on the fill up just above where you are?
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
that
looking
one.
in the wrong place. All right, so let's add that one as well. Where's the fill?
It's because if you kind of detach the cloud.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And what's this?
Wow.
Do you have a name?
My little program calls it Valhalla.
That is pretty cool. All right. Hello. And yay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is pretty good. I think the only thing I would do is add some padding just on the edges.
Yep.
So that the line goes out. So you could probably do that with like auto layout.
Gotcha.
Or you could do it with auto layout's probably the right way.
And then I'll add something here. Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, however much you think you need.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. And then it probably sorted that out here. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd probably have some individual settings. So you probably have something like no gap between your items, or a very small gap like 20. And then you would have your navigation probably be fill container, so that you didn't have this equally spaced children.
Oh, right. I didn't even notice, like, because this is moved, right? And this is moved as well. Okay, so how would I?
So when you're in the main component for that we've been working on. So if you change the 93 there in the auto layout, if you change that to 20 and then for the actual nav, the bit with your links, if you set that to be fill container rather than fixed width.
Where do I do that?
See where it says fixed width in the resizing section?
Oh, there.
Yeah, fill container. So, and now if you go back to your main page. Oh yeah, so you might want to center. You might want to right align that. I think originally you had it to the right. You had it like right justified.
Yep. So
if you go to your navigation.
Oh, wow. What did I do? Sorry, my navigation.
Yeah,
Yep.
your navigation. And then if you change, see like the auto layout box, I guess
This
you
one?
want it to be to the right. I think
Like
that'll
that?
work. Yeah.
Do it, and probably the same for these.
Yeah, so I think so that's going to be fixed width. So everything else I think is fixed width or hug contents.
Okay.
And I think the only thing we've set to grow, so it kind of works like flex in how this works.
Mhm.
So if you imagine that our
Okay.
nav is flex grow 1 and everything else is like flex shrink 0.
I see.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Oh,
looking good.
That's
I think
nice.
that's close to what you had, right?
Yep. Yep. I guess we can probably. Ooh. Yeah, I guess I want a bit more padding on the left side, I suppose. Or I could just probably do this.
Yeah, so if you make that shorter, the only downside you have is your little 1 pixel shadow. That one goes to the edge of the screen.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I'll just add some 20 maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
That's nice.
Okay, what should we do next?
Oh, I don't know. A button?
Yeah, let's do a button.
Like some variants on a button?
Let's do a button with a variant, and then let's see if we can make it an interactive component.
Cool.
Let's see if we can do all of that. Okay, so what we want to do, let's, make a frame. Make a frame.
A completely new frame, or
Yeah, just a frame. Just hit F and drag a box.
can I have it inside, or
Yeah,
what makes sense here?
Yeah, that's fine. You can have it where you had it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then put a fill, I guess, on it.
Yep. So let's have Svelte Orange.
Yeah. And then I guess we want to add some text in there.
Mm-hmm. Button.
Yeah. And then on our frame 5, I would probably
Yep.
just set the what would I do here? I think you would either set the button text to be centered, or you would go auto layout and then set the children to be centered. You could do either way.
Okay, so like that.
Yeah. Okay, and then I guess we make frame 5 a component.
Mm-hmm.
Button, and then we hit that variance button on the right.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll change. What would we change here? The background color. So we have like a pressed state.
Yep.
Yeah.
So pressed. That's just default, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you usually think with press states and stuff? Do you just change the?
Yeah, you could
Or
just
do you
change
add
the
a-
color, or you could do something with a shadow, or you could make it. In some cases, change the size of it.
Yep. Let's change the color.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do like a what do you call it? I don't want to save this color, right? Because it's just going to be used here.
No, I mean,
pretty much.
and yeah, so generally you wouldn't save that as a color, but you might, the way you might produce the darker shade would be to use the color from your styles, and then put on top of it a black that's at,
Oh, I see.
25% or something.
Gotcha. So should I do that, or should we just
I think, yeah, I think it's okay. I think we can carry on.
Yep. All
So
right.
now we've got these two. If we hit the kind of prototype button at the top right,
Yep.
and we click on our default button, and then drag that little dot, that little circle, drag it to the one below.
Ooh.
And now where it says instant, see under animation, if we change that to smart animate, and then you can change the easing curve if you like.
Yep.
Okay,
Easy
so
now, I guess.
so that's our button created. We've created the pressed variant, and we've hooked up an interactive prototype just for that component.
Oh, wow.
Now, when we come to use this button in a frame, so if we create a frame just to our right, or in our page, if we add the button to
Yeah,
our
let's
page.
let's use it in the page. We can just have it.
Yeah.
Here.
So what we do is we put this where we put this where we want to put it, and then on the actual page frame where it says resources recipes, if we click that,
Yep.
and if we see on the top right it says flow starting point, if we add a flow starting point and we hit play, the little blue play icon next to the
I see.
frame.
Yep.
It'll open in a new tab, and you'll see the button there. And if you click on the button, I think in this instance, it will change to pressed.
Yeah.
So we can do a few things. We can change it so it's not clicked, but hover, and we can also relink it back to the first one so that you have like an on-off effect.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd do that here.
Yep.
And I'd do the same thing with a...
Yeah, so you'd link the kind of bottom one back to the top one. That's it.
Default smart animate. Oh, it does it automatically pretty much.
Yeah, like remembers your last one.
So can I do... Oh, this also works.
Yeah.
The magic of interactivity.
Yeah, and you can go quite far with smart animate. So it's interesting how it works, like at a functional level, is it has 2 frames, and what it does, any layers that you have in the first frame that you also have in the second frame, it will try and animate all the properties between it. So that's positioning, color, size, quant radius, everything. And once you know that's how it works, you can create quite elaborate prototypes, which are difficult to maintain, but great to provide as like developer handoff for things like expanding cards that reveal more content, or modals, or any of these types of effects.
Yeah. That sounds pretty complicated to do, like with cards and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's great fun. It's a lot of it kind of does pair to how you might think about componentization in Svelte or reacting.
Doing like one of those, what's it called? That transition where you go from, like if you do a transition, like a page transition, you go from like a small heading and you transform it.
Oh, like a crossfade.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, it would be nice if you didn't have to do as much kind of maintenance, because if you imagine a true crossfade effect like that, where the content's just different, and you're maybe carrying across an image and a piece of text, but everything else is different. And how that works in Figma, all of the new elements that are in your second page need to be in your first page, or it won't be able to animate between them.
Oh, I see. So you have to hide them there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound horrible.
Yeah. And I've made flows in the past where there's tons of artboards, like tons of frames, and they're all of like parts of the state of the flow, just to get like nice interactions and doing things like quizzes and
Wow. Should have just implemented it in Svelte. All right. Is there we've been going for almost 50 minutes. Is there anything else we want to take a look at before we...
I mean, I guess, what else would we want to take a look at here? So in terms of what you've got design-wise, I think we've done textiles, we've done colors, we've done icons, we've got components, we've got variations, we've got interactive components. Do we want to do any sort of broader prototyping between pages?
Yeah, so like clicking the button would make it go to another page, or something like that?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we could do that. We could do something with the resources drop down.
Yeah, that might be fun. Like, is it possible to have it like expanded and?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do that.
Okay.
That sounds exciting. Okay, so we have our component here, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll need a...
So should we do it in a way where it's kind of like what we did for button, but it touches on what I just mentioned, where you kind of have like hidden elements in A
Yeah.
that also exist in B. Okay.
Sounds
So
good.
if we imagine, the best way to think about this stuff is to kind of think about what's going to be in your end state. So in our end state, we're going to have the drop down with the other items in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess that's what we want to start with. So we'll
So
have,
that would be the main component, and then
yeah, so we would have, well, at least I guess we want to start with it in design, duplicate it, and then kind of hide the bits we don't want in the
yeah.
default
Right.
variant.
Yeah. So I guess we create a variant called expanded. Or,
Yeah.
Okay. And then here I probably want to.
I guess what we want to do is we actually should probably add all of the items that are going to be in the expandable, because I guess the way I'm thinking about this is the box would just extend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess in that first box, if we extend that,
So,
like using like command. So if you undo that and then hold command and pull the edge down. Oh, it just did. It just didn't make a difference. Okay, fine. That's probably because you got auto layout on there, I guess.
Yeah. Should I just turn that off, or?
I think, yeah, maybe just
Or
group
down,
what you
maybe?
have there.
Oh wow.
If you group those 3 items, and that can be like, your first
Yeah.
item, and then duplicate that below.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's
now
nice. And we can add. We just need to change the auto layout direction at the top level. Okay. Now all of these wouldn't have the arrow, right?
No.
So we can delete that.
Ooh.
And then we can left line from the top level.
So let's see.
Click default and then set the like the positioning to be, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And then do each of these have their own icon?
Pretty much.
Okay.
We can probably just, I guess, yeah. So how do I just change?
Yeah, so you want to click the little icon drop down and then swap it to your...
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, interesting.
Yes, we namespace some of them, but not all.
Well, this will do for now. Oh,
Yes, we only made the big one, I think.
yeah. I guess we just make it small. See, there we go.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's update our text.
Yeah. Unity, jobs, recipes. All right.
Okay, cool. And then I think what we would do is so at the top level, like our thing that says default in the layers panel, we change the spacing there from 10 to say 0. Okay.
Yep.
And then I think if we kind of I think if we duplicate what we have here, so get rid of that variant that you have and then duplicate this. Yeah. Okay, so because we have all the elements here now, I don't think we're going to add any more elements. So we just need to figure out the state. So on the right-hand side, if we add that gap of 10 back to it, and then on the left one, we need to set the opacity for each of these layers to 0.
So that's this one, right?
Yeah, that one's fine, yeah.
0. Yep.
Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to shrink the container, but I think what it's going to do is it's going to move the elements. But let's align it to the top and then do it.
Okay, so I guess like that.
Yeah. And then maybe do that for the other one as well, because I don't think it will make any change to how it looks.
Yep.
Yeah. And then shrink that container. And let's just see how far we got with just that. So we need to go to prototype and hook it up.
Yep.
So
like
add
that.
interaction, yeah. And then that's all
Bring it
good.
to and then back again, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, and then we add it somewhere
And then
in the.
let's implement it in the design. So we can do it in our main component, right? In like our header component.
Oh, you mean it?
So back into components.
Yeah.
We've got components in components in components.
Yeah. All right. So what do I do here?
So I guess you just want to like copy the. Is it already using that component?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. We're good.
All
Okay,
right.
we can just go play the page.
Excellent. So let's see. Oh, this one. So I just.
So I think we need to. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. It's interesting. For sure. So we'd have to remove the auto layout behavior that we had, or we could do something where we do some kind of little trick where we remove auto layout from both elements in our component here.
Yeah. So both the header, right?
So the header one's actually okay.
That's okay.
Okay. But in our resources ones, if we remove auto layout from both of these, and from that one as well, and then I think what we want to do is reduce the frame bounds, but keep the shape. So what I'm kind of expecting is, I'm thinking, well, we don't want to remove auto layout from the header because that's going to have a knock-on effect to the rest of the header.
Yeah.
Well, what we could do is we could make it so that the frame actually doesn't change height, but the contents of the frame changes height, and we just don't clip the content. That would probably be the neatest way to do it. So the only change we'd have to make to this is that we couldn't have the fill on the background. That would just have to be a shape. That would be the only change we have to make.
Okay, so we would just add a rectangle, I guess.
Yeah. So if we remove the fill from here, and then add a rectangle.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I should probably make this the right size before I.
Yeah.
Border radius 12. What? It's all. Oh. Where did it go?
I think it's just from the parent,
blind?
right? So variant 2, if you remove the fill from that, and then just set the rectangle back. I think the rectangle's in group 32.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
If you pull it out of that and put it below everything.
Yeah. All right. There we go. And then I do the same for.
Yeah.
This. Oh.
A little bit taller.
Oh. What's this? Oh, it's the.
Yeah.
Okay, something like that.
Okay, so now let's go back to our tab at the top and see what happens now.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. That's awesome. I had no idea you could do this in Figma. That's great.
So there's lots of like kind of quirks with it, and we can see one right here in that, the time it takes to animate the background, it's trying to happen at the same time as the items, and you get a bit of, it's not ideal. But there's pretty much solutions for all of it. You just have to spend the time,
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. And I guess in the variant, I would probably like spin the arrow or something as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Does Figma do that as well? Like, does it spin it?
It does.
Wow.
Yeah. You can just set the rotation on it, and it will work straight away. So you can just adjust that one in your second variant or your top variant, whichever one. And then without doing anything else, you can just go back to the prototype, and it should just work without even having to do anything.
Oh, right.
It should just be like live.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
That is amazing. Wow. Well, this has been very nice. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
We've been going for an hour, so yeah, I think that was super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always great looking at this stuff that Figma can do, and it can do more and more. The more you spend time plugging away at it, you can find a lot of parity between web development, and you can find lots of areas to spend tons of time doing very small animations.
Yeah, and I guess that's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
I'd probably not like do the button thing in the prototype, right? I'd probably would you do that, or would you have like variants of buttons that you would send off to developers, or like, well, what's the way you work with this?
Yeah. So for a lot of projects, you would have you might have like two sizes of buttons, and you'll have definitely different colors of buttons, and you'll have states. So you might have like primary, secondary, disabled, and outline, let's say.
Yep.
So those would all be variants, and you would have probably a little matrix of them. So you'd have like small, medium, large. You might change the font size between those, and then you have your colors. And then you can actually have many properties, so that you're not just doing like property one to like size, like small or large, like div icons, but you can have a lot of them, and you can mix and match them all together to get whichever item in that matrix you like.
Right. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think buttons is like a super simple one to work on, like especially if you're not so familiar with Figma. It's a great one to get your head around how the componentization works, the variations, and then if you really want interactive components.
Yeah. So that would map pretty well to like props and Svelte, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the different variants or properties. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think
makes sense.
if you just come at it with that mindset, it makes things a lot easier to think about, and it makes architecting your files much easier as well. And when you're handing over to developer, or just handing over to yourself, in my case, it makes sense, and it kind of, anyone coming to that project will see this like hand in hand of how you structured your files, which is really helpful.
That's cool. So thanks for spending an hour teaching me Figma.
Anytime.
Fun. Do you want to shout out anything, like your Twitter or?
No, I mean, nothing to really mention. I mean, I'm on Twitter. I do occasionally tweet Svelte things. Just my name's just Matt_Pilott with 2 T's in Matt and 2 T's in Pilot. And then.
Oh, is that how you remember it?
Yeah.
No, you probably remember it anyway.
And then GitHub, of course, but without the underscore, just Matt Pilott altogether.
Cool. All right. There aren't any questions. I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.